Hello. Hello, hello.
Hello, world.
Hello,
And
everybody.
hello, Icarus and David Hayes and Sarah
Somebody named
Gos.
Sarah Gosling.
That's a new one. Sarah is new. Anyway, here we are. So Sal Cordova was playing with ChatGPT, and he got really excited in the beginning because it seemed to agree with him on fitness. And then he asked it a few more questions, and I don't think it went his way. And in summary, okay, spoiler, he decides that ChatGPT is cherry picking. And then he starts talking to it and like thanking it. And it's almost like he thought it was like a person back there, right? And now, okay, the whole thing behind training a neural net is it's impossible to train it by cherry picking. Okay. I mean, you would have to cherry pick a ton of data in order to get it to make any sense at all. So ChatGPT, I think before 2019, was that the cutoff date, or 2020? They just fed it the internet, everything. And it comes up with kind of a consensus opinion. But just for the hell of it, I asked it how long Sal Cordova has been criticizing fitness. And let's see if I can pop that up here. Get rid of me and put Chrome all on. And I don't know, I hope people can see that. Sal Cordova is a creationist who has been critical of various aspects of evolutionary biology, including the concept of fitness. He has been active in expressing his criticism for several years. It's about 20. It's worth noting that Cordova's criticisms come from a creationist perspective, which rejects the scientific consensus on evolution. His arguments against fitness and other evolutionary concepts are rooted in his belief that an intelligent designer is responsible for the complexity and diversity of life rather than natural processes. Cordova's criticisms of fitness and evolutionary biology are not widely accepted or recognized within the scientific community. They are generally viewed as misinterpretations or misunderstandings of evolutionary theory. Hear, hear. Lacking scientific rigor and evidence, it's important to consider the overwhelming consensus among scientists who regard fitness as a fundamental concept in understanding the mechanisms of evolutionary change. So anyway, Sal has been going on about fitness since I met him. In fact, we had a number of discussions about it. And his misunderstandings stem from a few equations that were developed back in like 1927 that use fitness as a basically single number, right? A real number to represent reproductive success. And since then, a number of people have, oh my God, Gary, stop it. Somebody's blowing up my phone and I can't shut it off because I have a case. Anyway, so there have been a number of criticisms and basically re-evaluation of how we use fitness in population genetics. And the criticisms fall along the lines of Lewontin has like 4 of them that he come up with. That, it's tautological. Basically, Danny would like that. It says the genomes that reproduce the most are the ones that are going to be the most, right? So it's almost a tautology. And that's correct. It is so common sense. It is so much common sense that it's a tautology. That it's just, It's just the way things work. If a particular set of genes has reproductive success, obviously they're going to and you're going to end up with more copies of those genes in the future. And so that's like a tautology, and that's one of the criticisms. Well, then the other one is environmental interaction. Now, environments change, and some genomes that were successful are going to become unsuccessful, and others, and back and forth. And the other real criticism is like the idea of neutral mutations, mutations that don't affect anything. Well, those neutral mutations, 3 or 4 generations or even 500 generations down the line, can suddenly have a detrimental or beneficial effect. And then it will affect the population. So anyway, the whole controversy is about how you model fitness and how you model population in population genetics. The very best way to understand evolution when you start out, when you're a newbie student, is to consider fitness just a number, and to like you'll set the norm at 1.0, and anything that's beneficial will be 1.02. Anything that's detrimental will be like 0.98. Then you run your population model and you see what happens, and it's just mathematics from there. Sal thinks that is somehow he thinks that the idea of fitness being just that somehow is at the very core of all evolution. And if he topples that, he has successfully toppled all of evolutionary biology. And it is so naive to think that way. It just tells you that they don't know what they're talking about. And it's not surprising, because if you don't believe in something, you're not going to study it to the point, where you're going to understand it. And I think that's what's going on. But anyway, so we have
that seems to be a common theme with creationists. I hear it from Ken Ham and the guy I did the video on the other day. They all do the same thing. If I can just disprove one thing, then all of evolution is wrong. And it's like, no, you could disprove one thing. It doesn't make everything wrong. It's Ken Ham's favorite thing to say is, oh, look, science discovered something new, therefore all of science is wrong.
Right.
All of science has to be changed now because we made a new discovery. And it's like, no, things like electronics and the computers, that all still stays the same. You just made a new discovery.
Another favorite is biology just discovered that life is complex. Therefore, God must have done it. It's like, no, the more complex it is, the less likely an intelligence did it, because intelligence creates simple solutions. Like machines. They're not that complicated compared to the cell. Anyway, it's just, I don't know, drives me crazy. Anyway, we're gonna play a few clips, and what I did is I chopped out the points, I think, where he enters something and gets a result. And the first result, I think, was in the beginning here. He gets pretty excited.
I asked this AI program, let me bring it up here. Artificial
Why are there
intelligence
two skaters on the screen?
He's always running. He's always got that skating video, I don't know, that he puts out in the beginning. He either puts out a bunch of military equipment and death and destruction, or he puts these skaters on. Or figure skating, right? He explains in the video here that him and his mom used to watch figure skating. So anyway.
Oh.
He gets all weepy about it. So.
I thought that was Kirk Cameron for a second.
And I said, according to Ario and Lewontin, fitness is poorly defined. Is that right? And the artificial intelligence computer said, yes, that is correct. In their influential paper titled The Confusion of Fitness, philosophers Robert L. Milstein and Sasmir Akasha discussed the arguments put forth by Ario and Lewontin. who argue that the concept of fitness in evolutionary biology is poorly defined. Take that.
And Okasha wrote an entire book on how we can do it better, basically. So Okasha wrote an entire book about how we can make fitness better defined and use it in a better way in in population genetics. And I think he came up with the propensity interpretation of fitness. So I mean, Sal misses that, right? Like, oh, it's poorly defined, therefore evolution is all wrong. If it were that
Yeah.
fucking simple,
It's
we'd
not
all
that
have no.
poorly defined. It's the same as negated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And-
Like if you're going to use mathematical terms or whatever, a negation of something means it's not fitness. There is no fitness. Fitness is
Right.
wrong. All it's saying is can't really pinpoint an exact definition. I mean,
Yeah.
like we can express, okay, you have traits and characteristics that allow you to overcome environmental factors, and so you're more likely to spread your seed, shall we say, into the next generation. And there are traits that might provide a challenge, and you might die before you can reproduce. You're more likely to die before spreading your genes. That's kind of hard to put into a graph or an equation. At least it would be for me because of lack of training or whatever. So it's not easily defined, but it's not negated either. And of course, Sal doesn't understand that kind of nuance, or he doesn't want his audience to understand that kind of nuance.
Well, if you actually read the paper, Lewontin and Ario in their papers say it was introduced as an inexact metaphor by Darwin. And then it was used in population genetics for the early part of the 20th century. And then they figured out more tricks. And now it is very, very complicated. And it depends on whether or not you're studying it from an ecologist point of view or a pop gen point of view as to which model you're going to use. And basically, this whole paper, if he had read it, goes on to suggest how we can fix the idea of fitness. And now Sal thinks the idea of fitness should be changed to mean the very best kind of engineering, right?
But yeah, which is so it's arbitrary and once again inexact.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's good engineering or not. But he wants to make it like, oh, God engineered things so well, right? So I mean, you can see his bias showing right there.
Oh yeah, it definitely has a design spin on it.
Yeah. Anyway,
and with the whole design and fine tuning argument, they don't have a standard to tune it or judge it against.
Yeah,
they're just saying, aha, well, our standard must be, like you said, they want to have a 100% to a 0%, but there's nothing to compare it to. All you can do is just look at what we have in the natural world and say, okay, that's the way it is. And to say it was designed or it's made better than or worse than, you don't have a standard. There's no standard to set these things against.
Yep. And the standard turns out to be ideas behind fitness, things that have reproductive success in a particular ecological niche, or they don't, whatever. And you can't get around that. I mean, that it's tautological. It's so simple that anybody can understand it. That basically that is how evolution happens, by reproductive success. You're going to end up with more copies of the organism in the future. And, if you have a very, very large population like bacteria, you're going to see some real rapid evolution in that population. If you have a small population, you're going to see more genetic drift, and things are going to be more susceptible to just chance. And we know that most species, 99.9% of them, eventually are extinct. And there's just that 0.1% that keeps branching out and flowering. And And everybody
Now,
understands with these
Mike,
books.
if you ran a company and you
Yeah.
hired engineers to make your product and they had a 99.9% failure rate, would you give them a raise or fire them?
I would fire them very quickly. Just like, yeah. Anyway, yeah, God has a 99.9% failure rate. So, okay, let's see what he's got here.
Circular! Because reproductive success itself is measured by fitness.
Yeah, he's pretty funny here. He's got like that one.
He just found a new friend.
Circular!
So what shape have you just screamed out at the top of your lungs in your house for no reason?
Yeah.
Triangle! Actually, I've been doing that because my grandsons are learning shapes. And so we have these little videos that we watch and we shout out the shapes. But I have accompaniment. Sal's doing
Dodecahedron.
Dodecahedron. Yeah, that's a little advanced for him. Give it a year.
Pentagram.
Pentagon, sir.
Pentagram. I like pentagram better. So this counselor I go to, it's called Family Circle Counseling. And the first time I went in there, I told the receptionist, my family is more of a pentagram than a circle. I don't know if she got it. She seemed to get it.
That's
Family
funny.
pentagram counseling.
Did they look at you funny
Anyway,
and just remain silent?
No, I think she understood exactly what I was talking about. Why else would you go to family counseling, right?
Right, yeah.
Of evolutionary processes where the fitness or trait of a genotype can vary depending on the specific environment and the frequencies.
Yeah, okay. We got that set. So, okay. So let me go on here, and I'm not sure what I got at 10:39.
Ooh, the slur.
Oh, hi.
Oh, no. That's where he gets into one of his friends graduated from high school, and he's going into biology, and Sal's pretty excited. And then he, I believe he says a prayer for him, and we'll listen to the prayer.
You pass it and graduate, and you don't need to believe in evolution.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you can graduate. You don't need to believe in evolution. Isn't
Just
that great?
don't expect to get your papers peer reviewed.
Well, the guy in chat, the guy that he's talking to that graduated, or no, somebody else who's getting a degree, basically said that he had to keep himself anonymous because his co-authors on his papers can't know that he's a creationist.
Oh, great.
Basically. Yeah, talks about that in chat. Anyway, we'll get to it here pretty quick. Anyway,
Heavenly Father, please
let us pray.
Bless breath of God, and Lord, bless his future. Thank you for this great milestone.
Please help him find a parking
We live
spot.
in such a fallen world, and there could be so many disappointments.
Send him to
Okay, you
his
live in
lost
such a-
keys.
Yeah, we live in such a fallen world. You know, it's like, do we really? Is it any more fallen today than it was in 1400 when they were burning people at the stake and, fucking killing each other left there? I mean, we live in a fallen world. It's just so horrible, our fallen world.
Oh, my God.
No. That's what I hate about Christianity is the absolute negativity of the whole thing. They don't see anything beautiful about life at all. Okay,
and
so
it follows right over into the politics. You hear everybody on the right talking about how terrible everything is. I was going down on a Walsh post the other day, and it was just depressing. This country's down the toilet. This country's never going to be the same. Oh, I don't know what my kids are going to do. And it's like, dang,
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't used to matter. Politicians used to always be upbeat,
Right.
Hey, we're going to do this and the country's going to be great and we're Americans. And everybody goes, yeah. It didn't matter what party it was. It was all the same yeah, it was just that was your guy or gal, or this was your guy or gal, right?
Yeah.
And now, yeah,
Now we're all headed for communism and war and whatever.
Trump is going to enact a bill to keep all the markers from coming into our country. He said it yesterday. So
The what?
He's going to keep all the He was trying to say Marxists, but he
and he said markers.
He said markers.
No.
So he's gonna sign a bill to keep all the markers out of our country.
Well, you know, that red marker always looks a little too pink, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, it's unthinkable. Think about it. And I just busted out laughing. I was like,
oh my God.
It's unthinkable. And he was real serious. Think about it.
And I think people are going to vote for him because of that.
It's amazing. They cheer it on. And I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway. Okay.
Just goofing off here. So I asked the question, fitness is poorly defined. Is that right? And ChatGPT said, yes, that's correct.
Ooh,
and they just slaughter it. I mean, oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. They slaughtered it.
There you go. Artificial intelligence to the rescue.
Well, then okay. So
as
then,
an AI program, do you reference and just repeat the talking points of evolutionary biologists without any critical thinking of your own? Just want to see what he asked.
So he asked it. You see what he asked it? I mean,
he's getting moist.
As an AI program, do you reference and just okay? I think there was one like right before that where it didn't agree with him. Okay, yeah, he didn't care for it. Okay, so the critique that evolutionary fitness is poorly defined does not necessarily imply that evolutionary theories, depending on the concept, are entirely suspect. While the concept of fitness may have some ambiguities and challenges in its definition, it remains a fundamental concept of evolutionary biology and has proven to be a useful framework for understanding and studying evolutionary processes. It is important to note that despite the complexities associated with defining and measuring fitness, researchers in evolutionary biology have developed various mathematical and statistical approaches to estimate and compare fitness values in different contexts. The approaches involve studying reproductive success, survival rates, population dynamics, genetic variation, and other factors to gain insights. And he didn't care for that. So he basically, so then he asked it this next question, and he got his ass handed to him again at, I think it was 1804. So he asked this loaded question, do you reference the talking points of evolutionary biologists? No, it's an AI cell. You know, it doesn't sit around and it doesn't have an atheistic bias. I'm sorry. Just like, what the fuck? Anyway.
This is the creationist's best friend. It'll tell them whatever they want to hear.
Well, actually, it doesn't tell him anything at all from here on out that he wants to hear. And that's why.
And just repeat the talking points of evolutionary biologists without any critical thinking of your own. See what he has to say.
Oh my God. As an AI language model, I don't have personal opinions or beliefs or the ability to engage in critical thinking in the same way as humans do. Sal apparently doesn't get that. Okay. I can provide information based on training data I have been provided, which includes a wide range of sources such as books, articles, websites, and other texts. When providing information, I aim to offer a comprehensive and balanced view by incorporating different perspectives and viewpoints. And your creationist perspective is not one of the ones it found. I'm sorry. Sorry, Sal. Information I provide should be critically evaluated and cross-checked. Anyway, if you have specific questions or require further clarification, I'll do my best. See what he has.
My responses are generated based on patterns and information in the data I was trained on, and they should not be taken as absolute truth or the final word of the
Yeah, so okay, now here's another one.
biologists.
Okay, thank you for your response. How then can you be trained on a better set of data than that provided by evolutionary biologists? That's what he asked it. Let's see what it comes up with. And it says he's trained on a diverse set of data. Let's see, exposing the model to a large corpus of text. While my training data provides a valuable foundation for generating responses, you want to do critical thinking. Okay. It is important to note that the data itself is not inherently better or more authoritative than the work of evolutionary biologists or other experts in the field. The training data reflects the information and perspectives available up until September 2021, which means it may not be that up to date. Okay.
While my training data provides a valuable foundation for generating responses,
And
it is
then he
important to note
reads what
that
I
the
just
data
read.
itself is not inherently better or more authoritative than the work of evolutionary biologists or other experts in the field. The training data reflects the information and perspectives available up to September 2021.
I wonder if he's whistling
Which
at the dark.
means
You
it
know,
may
he's
not
like
incorporate the
feeling
recent
this
advancements,
terror
developments in the
that even a computer doesn't, you know, a mindless computer doesn't
Right.
agree with him. He's like going, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Look what he's saying. Ha, 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 ha. I thought he'd agree with me. Ha.
Oh, shit. Oh, let's see. Where does he go next? Okay, natural selection frequently causes gene loss. Is that correct? That's the next thing that he asks. So,
According to Wolf and Kuhnen, the dominant.
And then it says, yes, that is correct. Natural selection can lead to gene loss in certain circumstances. Sal, like he always highlights that Kochi paper and a few others on, where they had a bacterial population and it lost genes in a particular environment, like Lenski's experiment. And that's one population branch that lost genes. And bacteria frequently will abort parts of their genome in order to find something that fits the lock, right? And that happens in bacteria, not so much in higher organisms at all. But the important point is that it's in certain circumstances, Sal. Natural selection is a key mechanism of evolution that acts on heritable variations within populations, favoring traits that enhance an organism's survival and reproductive success in a given environment. While natural selection often leads to the adaptation and preservation of advantageous traits, can also result in the loss or reduction of certain genes or traits that are no longer beneficial or necessary. Pretty simple, but he didn't seem to read any of it. So, and then genetic drift they mentioned. The ChatGPT does a good job here, and I forget what else. It went on to kind of tell him that no, it doesn't always lose genes, Sal, and that's his whole thesis, right? It's always gene loss. No, it ain't. Ask ChatGPT.
Mode of evolution is gene loss. Is that correct?
He's trying to get it to agree with him again. Oh my God, he's still chuckling.
All right, let's see. Yes, it is correct that Wolf had proposed gene loss as the dominant mode. Their hypothesis is based on observations that genomes of organisms across all domains of life, including bacteria, archaea, often contain large numbers of non-functional or dispensable genes. These genes may have lost their original functions or become redundant due to changes in the organism's environment, lifestyle, or evolutionary. Okay. They argue that gene loss is a consequence of the economy principle, where organisms tend to reduce metabolic and regulatory burdens associated with maintaining unnecessary genes. This enables them to allocate resources more efficiently.
There's very little empirical evidence to support that. It's basically having a fat genome doesn't necessarily create a problem for eukaryotic cells. So,
And
You
adapt.
Sal's getting serious when you can only see one eyeball.
Yeah, that's the squinty one.
yeah.
That's the Sal special. When he's getting into something, he gets so close, you only get the one eyeball there.
Yep. Well, gene loss is considered an important. I wonder if he reads this part. Let's see if he
Loss
reads
is
it.
considered an important aspect of genome evolution. It is worth noting that other evolutionary processes, such as gene duplication, horizontal gene transfer, and the acquisition of new genes through mutation, also contribute to genomic diversification of novel traits. The relative contribution of gene loss and other mechanisms can vary depending on specific organisms and evolutionary contexts being considered.
Now, he read it. I wonder if he heard it, because that refutes his biggest talking point, right? That is gene loss that he's been going on about. Let's see. Come on, Sal. Talk.
So
Oh,
I was waiting for it.
oh, no.
Oh, that's what you're gonna. That's how you're gonna play it. Well, Mr. Smarty Pants AI, how about this question?
Is Kent Hovind a charlatan?
Now he's going to go off on Kent
and
Hovind,
criminal?
and that goes on for a while.
I'm
I
just
don't
gonna
think it's
It
all that
seems kind of-
interesting. But
It seems kind of dirty to mention Kent Hovind to the likes of an AI. It's so beneath him. It's like asking him about Bugs Bunny or
Right.
Wile E. Coyote or something. It's like, why would you bother that with an AI? It's just weird.
Well, that's who they get their physics from. Is
Yeah.
It's Wile E. Coyote.
Or Elmer Fudd.
oh, let's see.
Elmer Fudd
what about
is to Bugs Bunny as Sal Cordova is to ChatGPT.
So then, as a narcissist will do, he asks about Sal Cordova. What about the obscure creation?
How smart
name,
is Sal Cordova?
Okay, stop
Oh,
everything.
boy.
Speed, you got to open up ChatGPT and ask Dave's question now.
Oh,
How
How smart
is
is Sal Cordova?
Cordova?
okay. How smart is Sal Cordova? Okay. Let's see here. Oh, I got Chrome all on.
Of course, now I feel
Okay,
like
I know.
Elmer Fudd. But we got to know.
I don't.
Everybody type a 1 in the side chat if you don't know who Elmer Fudd is.
Assessing someone's intelligence is a complex task that requires comprehensive understanding. It's worth noting, regarding Sal Cordova, he is a creationist who has expressed criticisms of evolutionary biology. He rejects mainstream scientific consensus. It is essential to differentiate between intelligence and acceptance or rejection of scientific theories. While he has been vocal in presenting his viewpoints, the assessment of his intelligence would be speculative and subjective. It's more productive to evaluate his work. So that's what ChatGPT doesn't want to criticize Sal.
Well, ChatGPT is taking the classy way out.
Yeah.
That's I cannot disrespect ChatGPT for that. His legal department is very astute.
It's the nice version of American
Public.
Loons.
consciousness.
He's comparing him now to Kent Hovind. He's asking for a comparison of himself and Kent Hovind. Let's see what it comes up with.
He's generating, he's cranking it.
I think Sal's cranking it.
He's a lesser known figure compared to Kent Hovind.
He is not.
Is he going to read that part?
So he's wanting to be considered smarter than or more popular than Kent Hovind.
In contrast, Cordova's profile and impact may be more limited to specific circles within the intelligent design communities. It's important to propose. Yeah, okay. Then it says it goes ahead. ChatGPT keeps asking you to think critically. In other words, don't listen to me entirely.
He has not gained as much widespread attention or recognition. Cordova is known for his involvement in intelligent design, a movement for. Okay, it is important to note the exception.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
can you ask ChatGPT to name its sources? For its
sometimes
statements? Okay.
Well, I've asked it for specific author names in different areas of research, and it comes up with papers and lists of authors. But you can get it to name some sources, but it can't name them all because its sources. It doesn't work that way. Okay, its sources are like in the billions, right? So if it were to name all of its sources for a particular opinion on biology, it would be cranking out for the next 5 years. You'd never get to the bottom of it. Doesn't quite work that way.
All I keep hearing is mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the bestest Sal of all?
Yeah. Where's he go next? Okay. Now, he's got a new question. Jerry Coyne said, in science's pecking order. Now, this is a good one. Okay. This is something that Sal loves to talk about, is this Jerry Coyne quote, right? In science's pecking order, evolutionary biology lurks somewhere near the bottom. Does evolutionary biology indeed lurk, somewhere near the bottom? Let's see what ChatGPT says about that. Okay, right at the top. The statement you mentioned by Jerry Coyne needs to be understood in its proper context. Jerry Coyne, as an evolutionary biologist himself and a prominent figure in the field, his statement about evolutionary biology lurking somewhere near the bottom in science's pecking order was made in the context of funding priorities and public perception of scientific disciplines.
Boom! Now, that kind of changes the conversation, doesn't it?
It does quite a bit.
Wow.
So he's talking about how evolutionary biology gets less funding. He's not talking about it being something wrong with it, because he is an evolutionary biologist himself, you fucking doofus. It's like, what the fuck? And then he goes on to talk about, let's see if Sal reads part of it first.
Oh, puke! Oh, that's terrible.
It's terrible.
Wait a minute. It's terrible. It's puke because he provided the correct context for that statement. And I just called ChatGPT a he. I realized that. But it provided context, therefore puke.
I mean, he has talked about this in like at least 20 broadcasts, right? Where Jerry Coyne said that. And now right in front of him in the first paragraph, ChatGPT, a fucking AI, right, tells him exactly why he's wrong, and he's going to completely miss it. And in the next broadcast, he's going to repeat it again. It's like, what do you do with people like that are that fucking block dumb? I mean, it's just like, holy shit. Anyway, see if he reads any of that.
Oh, okay. It's repeating talking points.
Talking points.
But
It's not a talking point, Sal. It's what he said in the fucking article. He's choking. He's almost choking on this one. This is fucking rich. Yeah, okay. No, he's not going to read any of it. He's just going to let that go. It's up to us to read the damn thing. In summary, while Jerry Coyne's statement highlights some challenges faced by evolutionary biology in certain contexts, it should not be taken as a reflection of the scientific importance or standing of the field. Evolutionary biology remains a fundamental and vibrant area of scientific inquiry, with ongoing research and discoveries expanding our knowledge of life's diversity and evolutionary processes. He didn't read any of that, which is about all you have to know about these fuckers, right? I mean, what else do you need to know? I don't know. Okay, but doesn't electromagnetic theory have so much more evidential support than evolutionary biology? He ain't gonna get the answer he wants here either, is he? Come on. Just go ahead and hit it. Oh, after all, electromagnetic theory has actual experiments. Evolutionary biology or biologists can only appeal to their own assertions by comparison. Okay.
Oh, well, thanks for dropping in. All right.
Is he going to read it?
It is a well-established scientific framework. It has been extensively tested and validated through numerous experiments and observations over many years. Yeah, have fun, breath of God. The predictions have been repeatedly confirmed by applied various technologies.
I think I'm going to change my username to Halitosis of the Holy Spirit.
I think so. He's not reading it. Evolutionary biology, on the other hand, investigates the processes and patterns of biological evolution, including the diversity of species, blah, blah, blah. The evidence supporting evolutionary biology comes from diverse sources, including fossil records, comparative anatomy, genetics, molecular biology, biogeography, and experimental studies. These lines of evidence collectively support the principles and provide a correct, coherent explanation for the observed patterns in the natural world. Come on, Sal, read a little bit of it.
And that goes right back to what we said at the beginning.
But
That
what
if you
about-
disprove the one thing, it doesn't disprove all those other
Right.
lines of evidence.
Yeah. In scientific endeavors, the strength of evidence is evaluated within the context of each field's unique methods and data, theoretical frameworks. Both electromagnetic theory and evolutionary biology have extensive bodies of evidence supporting their respective theories, and they contribute to our understanding of the natural world. Now he's not gonna read any of that again. And I bet most of his audience doesn't bother to read it either. But what about the experiment?
He's not giggling anymore either.
No, he quit giggling. Well, he'll start again. But what about the experiments that are at variance with the claims of evolutionary biology, such as loss of genes by natural selection? Oh my God. I know you're just an AI program, he tells it. What the fuck? Who do you think you're talking to, Sal? Repeating evolutionary talking points. Oh my God. So I can't blame you for the bad data.
Sal has a female robot friend, doesn't he?
I think so.
Lives in Canada, so that she can't meet his friends.
Yeah, so he thanks it later. I hope you'll be fed better data. Okay, Sal, the way they train an AI is by feeding it all of the data that they can get their fucking hands on, okay? And that is all of the data that's available to you and everyone else out on the internet. And the conclusions it comes up with are pretty accurate based on that data. So, see, these guys would pass laws that, you know, AIs could only be fed certain sources if they could.
Yeah.
I bet they would.
Well,
Like,
it's kind of like a living, breathing wiki, right? It just keeps growing as more people put information in.
Yep. Yeah, and it gets its information from the whole of the web and everything else they can feed it. And they're going to start feeding all the papers into it.
And wiki can be wrong.
Yeah, it can. And frequently
unless somebody's corrected it or intentionally made it wrong.
Well, here's the thing. The wiki ends up being like, as far as accuracy goes, about 99%, because there are so many people involved in it that they're always correcting anything bad that ends up out there. And like, there were a few creationists that were trying to basically edit stuff on the wiki, and they got voted off by a panel, by a democracy, basically. So the consensus, the wiki is consensus, and it's really good. And I think I had one example where something changed in one day because it was bad information, and they corrected it right away. So it's pretty damn reliable.
And unlike somebody's blog, it usually has an extensive list of citations and sources down at the bottom. So,
right. So what else is is there a way I can help? Okay. Ensure you get better data, better, more up to date. Oh my God.
Am I pretty?
Yeah. What the hell?
Do you think I'm pretty?
I apologize if my previous responses did not fully address your concerns. As an AI language model, I strive to provide the accurate and balanced information based on the data I have been trained on, which includes a wide range of sources. However, I understand that different perspectives exist. If you have specific experiments or studies that you believe are at variance with evolutionary claims, I would be happy to discuss them and explore the scientific literature around these topics. It's important to note that the scientific process involves ongoing research, revisions, and debates. Regarding your question about helping me receive better up-to-date data, I'm an AI model developed by OpenAI, and the data I'm trained on is curated and updated by the OpenAI team. They continuously work on improving my training process. Let's see, staying up to date with the latest science and consulting authoritative sources. What do we got here?
And of course, they've only programmed in the accepted, quote unquote, talking points of atheistic evolutionists.
Right.
I'm sorry, evolutionists.
Evolutionismists. Yeah, that's what I put in my description. Okay. Is he still live? Yeah, he is. What are you doing, Sal? Oh, now he's asking it. Oh, wait a minute. He's scratching his ear.
That's a real ear scratcher.
He's not talking.
First rule of adaptive evolution.
No, he's going to ask it another rule or another question. He's not going to read any of that again. Didn't agree with him. Oh, first rule of adaptive evolution by Behe quotes experiments that show that most adaptations are loss of function. Okay.
Okay, the first.
No, that statement is not entirely accurate.
So he doesn't think Sal is pretty.
No, I guess not. Well, it is true that Behe, a proponent of intelligent design, argues that many adaptations involve loss of function. It is an oversimplification to claim that most adaptations are loss of function based on his viewpoint alone. Behe's concept of irreducible complexity suggests that certain complex biological systems cannot be formed gradually as a removal, as a removal of any component. Okay, so however, it is important to note that Behe's ideas have been subject to criticism and debate within the scientific community. Many scientists argue that the concept of irreducible complexity fails to account for the potential evolutionary pathways and stepwise processes. In the field of evolutionary biology, there are numerous examples of adaptations. Oh, let's see if he's going to read this one. It's important to approach the scientific discussions with an open mind. Okay, what do you got to say, Sal?
Well, it's true that the proponent argues that.
You see what I mean? He's getting his ass handed to him by AI, and he's still going on. He's still trying.
Well, he's not cackling like he was.
He's not cackling as much. I think he's a little disappointed. He just slammed down one of his good L books. Oh, now he's going to go to Google. Fuck AI. I'm going to Google. I'm going to Google this shit. Most adaptation is a loss of function. Okay. And then he pulls up a paper by, who's this one by? Hotis, I think, which I have right here. And that isn't what she's talking about at all. So fail Sal. I read the paper, not what she's saying, basically. They're talking about bacteria and how that's basically an evolved trait of bacteria is to dump certain genes and make cuts in the genome in order to adapt. And it's one paper. It's about bacteria. It's about modern bacteria. Does not support his Behe claim. Where are we at here? We're at 36. Okay, so going down to 40, 38, 35. Okay, 38. Might have something here. Another question. He didn't like that one. Can you comment on Ellison Hotis bacterial adaptation? Okay. And it's going to tell him that I think I can't comment because I haven't read the paper. So it hasn't been submitted, that information, as I remember. I apologize for any confusion, but an AI language model, yeah, you're very confused. Okay, so now we're on to it.
AI has also been fed and trained information from the PR department, I guess, too.
Yep.
I apologize for the confusion.
Okay, 38, 40. The paper in question is publicly available here. I forget how it responds to that. Let's see.
Does the AI have kind of AI have kind of a spider function where it goes out and randomly reads shit, or is it all fed by the Google team, or not Google, the OpenAI team?
No, it's got a spider. It basically crawls anything that's publicly available, and those papers are behind a paywall. So
gotcha.
That's what we need as a next step, is to take those papers out of the paywall and give them to the AI teams, so that they have a comprehensive look.
Yeah, that seems like. Well, I don't know. I'm sure those publishers are wanting would want OpenAI or whatever group to pay for those articles, but that'd be a waste.
Yeah, they can work something out with them where they reference the paper, give an opinion or an abbreviation, and then people, can go out and pay for the paper. I think if we're going to pass laws, we should basically have a law that eliminates that paywall entirely.
Well, my prediction is once AI goes, becomes more widely incorporated into our software, then there is going to be corporate and government influence that will limit the data those AIs can evaluate.
Yep. Then he goes ahead and he thanks the AI, and then let's see what he says here.
He's only able to compute from the garbage he's been fed, and that's the only thing if he has a different data set, then he can provide different answers. So he's just repeating evolutionary talking points. He says, the scientific theory of evolution, that's the first mistake, which is based on empirical evidence. No, it's not. It's based on wrong interpretations of what little empirical evidence we have, the disregard for empirical
Says one
evidence.
little troubled individual somewhere in Virginia.
Paper.
Yep. Yeah, he knows.
There's a lot of cherry picking and confirmation bias.
Okay, how does an AI cherry pick and have confirmation bias? I'd like to know that.
It's funny how he projects the same things onto lifeless software programs.
Right. Yep.
As he does on people, who share a scientific point of view.
Yep.
Well, that's the new creationist line. Instead of denying science, they just say, no, you've got the wrong science.
Yeah.
We've got the right science.
Yep. What are the best empirical evidences against evolution? Or against evolution?
So they cited fossil record, comparative anatomy, biogeography.
Okay, he asked for the best evidence for evolution, and that's what it said: biogeography, comparative embryology,
genetic evidence, observations of natural selection.
Can we pause this real quick?
Yeah.
Apparently, Jay Patrick is unaware of the famous Gödel's what's it called? Gödel's
incompleteness
theorem breakdown
video
that Sal had. Do we have a copy of that handy?
Oh,
we need to show that.
You mean the one where he goes out and hits the books?
Yeah, where he slams the books down on the, and then he goes grabs math books off the shelf, and then. If anybody can throw us the link real quick, we will show it for Jay. Of course, if you put the link in there, Jay could watch it himself, but that would deprive us of the fun.
Oh, let's see here. I got it. I just gotta expand it. That's all. Oh, let's see here. +1. Whoops. What is going on?
Check the private chat, Mike.
Huh?
Now, for Jay's benefit,
check the private chat real quick, Mike.
Wow.
Oh, it hit 300.
I have no idea what we did.
For Jay Patrick's benefit, now remember, Digital Gnosis at some point was in a room with, among others, with Sal, and he started quizzing Sal on his knowledge about certain fields, because Sal just didn't sound to Nathan like he had a real working knowledge. He just had like just an overview of certain concepts. And so he asked him about, Gödel's incompleteness theorem, and apparently Sal was he just wasn't really deeply familiar with it. And then that led to a response video where he gets mad and starts slamming books, math books on his desk that did not have a reference to Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Or Gödel.
Gödel was good.
Gödel, yeah. So anyway, that's the context, but it's a beautiful, beautiful meltdown.
Yep. Just give me a minute here.
Okay, I think
I've got
Jay is starting to remember that particular episode.
Did you find it? It's
I
on.
got it.
All right, let's
Nathan's
watch it.
channel?
Let's watch it. I'm clapping my hands.
It's in the live chat. Or I mean the private chat.
I think
Sorry.
it's a little embarrassing.
Okay, hang on a second.
I think it's near the end. Oh, yeah, you got it there. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there Gödel's incompleteness theorem here mentioned? No. So that's one book. A book on variational mechanics, variational calculus, including Lagrange and Hamiltonians. Does this mention Gödel's incompleteness theorem? And I looked, and I did look before I came on the show, so I'm not going to bother paging through it. No mention of it.
Can you tell me what it is?
Dude,
tell me what the proof is? You're just listing things.
You like have any defense except to interrupt me when I'm talking?
Yeah, I'd like you to tell me what
calculus in quantum mechanics. The only incompleteness there was quantum mechanics, not Gödel's.
You bought a book. What is it?
Joseph Elian's Contemporary Abstract Algebra, and these are my textbooks, bro.
Nathan, you're not listening to what he's saying.
Gödel's incompleteness theorem there.
He's saying he's bought a load of books.
Handbook of mathematical functions.
Nathan, I'll let you respond. Please be quiet.
Abrahamowitz and Stegen. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Introduction to Probability and Applications. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Mathematics of Options Trading. No mention of Gödel's theorem. Elementary Numerical Analysis. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Electrical Engineering. Laplace transform solving circuits. Differential equations. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. General Relativity. Differential non-Euclidean geometry. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Mathematical Analysis by Apostle. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Freshman Calculus. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Discrete Mathematics. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Mathematical Structures. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Introductory
How many people
linear
believe he
algebra,
actually wrote
27 is identity matrices, which you asked me about. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
Yeah, but the other thing he asked him about is something called R3, which is the three-dimensional vector space, which most of those books mention, and Sal didn't know what the fuck it was. He didn't know what a vector space was.
Right. That's why he got
Linear
bent,
algebra.
because Nathan challenged his
No mention.
knowledge.
Yeah, that's why he got so upset. Look at that look.
And
on his
really,
face.
he's not demonstrating he has knowledge. He's demonstrating he has books.
Well,
He-
Nathan
he's-
asked him a couple basic questions, and Sal couldn't answer. And he's like, I thought you took a bunch of math classes and you don't know these basic things. And then that's when he got all triggered that
Right.
it's not in the books.
And I can't imagine making it through a math degree without some professor mentioning Gödel's incompleteness theorem, because it's
Well, that
one of
wasn't the only thing he asked him either. He
No, it
asked him
wasn't, no.
like 3 or 4 questions, and Sal couldn't answer any of them.
Yeah.
It's like saying, I work on cars. It's like, oh, okay, where's the alternator at? Well,
Yeah.
that wasn't in any of my books. Oh, okay, well, where's the carburetor at? That
It
wasn't in any
started
of my
out-
books either. And, okay.
It started out when Sal brought up Russell, and then Digital Gnosis started questioning him about Russell's theories, right? And he didn't know anything other than, I think, Russell's teapot, or maybe the contradiction one on set theory. I'm not sure, but anyway. So then it all went to hell after that.
Of Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
He's still
Contemporary
going.
abstract algebra. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. So what was this point of me showing all this? Just because I didn't mention a theorem that's not mentioned in that pile of books, which were my textbooks, you're going to make the case that I didn't study mathematics and that
Yep.
I'm a pseudo-intellectual. And I was
Yep.
pointing out, even if I were a pseudo-intellectual,
Well, if he had understood anything about the course that he took. Anyway, does he get to the part where he struts back to the library and puts his books away? Let's see. Anyway, I'll have to link this in the description for people. So
Yeah, that's the long. If that's the one I sent you, that's the long version.
yeah,
That's what
yeah, there it is. Yeah, he struts back in the library here, and now watch how he walks. Does he have a stick up his ass, or am I just
Yeah, he
imagining?
kind of does.
He kind of has a stick up his ass. I notice he walks like that a lot. Anyway, yeah, fun. Yeah, so I don't know if there's much more in this video. That he's got a few other little gems where he accuses AI of being biased and all that bullshit. It's just so much bullshit, so little time.
And apparently, he still hasn't watched Dapper Dino's takedown of not Tompkins, but who's the one that that he did before Tompkins? I can't remember. But Sal did the big defense of Sal's favorite biologist.
Sanford.
Yeah, and he still hasn't watched, or at least admitted watching, Dapper Dino's takedown of Sanford, where he concludes that Sanford is a liar, and then how Sal went and he defended Sanford against Dapper Dino's accusations, even though he never watched those accusations.
But Dapper's got the timer running.
Yeah,
on every one
it's
of
up
his
in
videos.
the 80s or something, 80s of hours of opportunities he's had to watch it.
He's not letting him off the hook. It's up there on every video.
Notice how any relationship that Sal has with somebody just goes to shit after not too long, a few months.
Yeah, now it happened to Joel Duff, so he canceled.
Yeah,
him too. So, yeah,
and Joel Duff is the most stand-up, controlled, measured, thoughtful person I've encountered on the internet,
and a devout Christian on top of it.
Yeah,
somebody that he certainly shouldn't have blocked.
He's managed to talk with Nathaniel Jeanson, so I mean, if you can get anybody from AIG on to talk, you're being awful bend over backwards nice. So
yeah, yep. Anyway, so I've been over this whole fitness thing from one end to another, and I have the people that he mentioned that criticize fitness, they have many books that they've written where they explain new models for fitness and how to use it in population genetics, and none of them are disagreeing with evolutionary biology. And it's just and then he accuses AI of cherry picking. Sal, that's exactly what you're doing. And AI in that last thing told him that that's what he was doing. Like, you have to look at it in context, and he didn't read that part, So anyway, just absolutely amazing. I don't know what we're gonna do with these people. Then I'm having a conversation in chat on one of Standing for Truth's videos, with a couple of people, and they keep telling me how the Word of God, and we're Donnie Deals has the Word of God, behind him and all that, and then I said, well, wait a minute now. There are a lot of people that read the Bible and believe in the Bible and are Christians that disagree with you. So how do I choose between your minority, you creationists, and the majority of Christians who accept science? I mean, how do I pick? And he said, well, you gotta get the true Word of God. And they got the true Word of God. And I asked him, well, how do I know you have the true Word of God? And Scott suggested that I ask him, how do you know How do I know that you're not Satan? I mean, he could be Satan. I don't know. It just goes on, and they're just so blinkered because they're going to believe what they have decided in the beginning, no matter how much evidence you give them. And they're going to go find a one-off cherry-pick quote to support their belief every time and not read the paper. Sal doesn't have a leg to stand on. There isn't one of his ideas that has not been thoroughly destroyed, and yet he keeps blathering. And I don't know how you deal with these people. I don't know. Whatever.
And why anybody, why he has this little fan base. These little cults with these different creationists and stuff. It's just, I just don't get it. I mean, it's just such nonsense.
It's like watching porn, that's what they're doing. They're just watching their porn.
Yeah, I posted something on one of Donnie's videos too, and here they come. Oh, you believe your grandfather was an ape, and prove this to me and prove that to me and everything. And I don't even get into it with them anymore. I said, well, I have all the scientists, and you have a convicted con man that knocks around his old lady. So I'll go with the science. So good luck with you picking Hovind over that. So, and then pretty much ends it. They stop talking to me. So
yeah, I'm sorry, but during this I ignored, or I haven't been able to read chat at all. I'm kind of a one-track person, so I missed a lot of chat, and but I do capture the chat and I do read it later, and I apologize, everybody. Anyway,
Bree says she wants to debate Sal. That would be good.
I would love to see that.
God. I would love to.
That'll bring about some book slamming.
I would go on Modern Day Debate and debate Sal, even though I think debates are bullshit and a waste of time. But I would love to get that son of a bitch into a live chat with me. I would just love it. Because we drill down on some of his little ideas and ask him to back them the fuck up. I don't know.
No, they keep throwing it at me in the chat on Donnie's channel all the time. Why don't you come on and debate? Why don't you come on and debate? And I was like, I don't debate. I'll ask questions. And then it gets real quiet again because they don't want to answer questions. They just, they want to throw their shtick. And it's like, I don't want to listen to your shtick for 2 hours.
So on your channel next Saturday, we're going to, at noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Is that what it is?
The following Saturday, yeah. The 22nd.
The following Saturday. Okay, what are we doing?
Yeah. On July 22nd at 1 o'clock, we have it scheduled to have a talk with Dan and Seth, and Mike and Scott are invited, and me too. And we're going to talk about Ken Ham. And I'm trying to think up a title. The Deconverted Man, maybe he can help. There's got to be a good title there. Something about having ham for lunch or something like that. Having ham, toasting a ham sandwich for lunch or something. I've been rolling around. I'm trying to think of a title. Yeah, there's got to be something good in there with
roasting ham.
Yeah, and it's kind of at lunchtime. So and yet, Dan has a few questions. He's conversed with Seth, but they've never really been on face to face or
which
on
Seth?
Camera or anything. Seth Seth is the guy I interviewed that worked at the Ark Park.
Oh, okay.
The one that we made the funny little short video about Ken Ham's leaky pond.
Yeah.
Right.
And that still cracks up Dan Phelps. And then when I talked to Dan, it came full circle because Ken Ham got ragged on because he put out an insurance claim for flood damage. And of course, you know, it was a big joke.
The
Well,
irony.
the damage
the irony.
was one of his little access roads in the back got washed out. And they were saying it was from the rain. But Dan said it was also partly because his pond had been leaking and they kept filling it and filling it. So the ground was already saturated. And then the rain just added to it. And then it just all washed out. So part of that was because he had the leaky pond. So it just made it even more funnier. He did it to himself.
Yeah, and I get 2 emails a day from Ken Ham with a blog associated with everyone. And lately, it's the latest one is something hilarious: singing camels and a camel birthday party at the Ark Encounter. I don't know what the fuck.
They've got camels there. They give camel rides.
Okay. Should climate change keep us from having kids? Was one from last week. True first, God, the scientist, or the theologian? That's an interesting one. Feeding people spiritually and physically. He's got he just like 2 a day I get from him. So I signed up for their emailing list at AIG. And do they do Acts and Facts, or is that somebody else that does Acts and Facts?
I think they do Acts and Facts.
They do? Yeah, so
I don't know.
basically I subscribe. So I get a shiny little magazine every couple of months.
Shiny little garbage.
Yep, and it's got a shiny little garbage in there. And
you know, if you polish a turd, it's still a turd.
And they got Dwayne Gish. You got a picture of him in there on prominent. Yep. I forget. The ICC and a covenant for civility and respect. What? I wouldn't accuse them of that. The alarming truth about head-banging termites is one of the articles. Jupiter's young moons. Remembering Dr. John Morse. Nice thing they do is they always talk about these creationist talking heads that have died. And I sort of like reading about them when they die. I don't know. Well, you know, I read obituaries. I'm old, right? So I love when a good creationist passes away.
Well, you know,
Am I bad?
Where do you find obituaries anymore? Do you just like pull up obituary.com and start going through them, or?
Actually, my hometown paper. One of my classmates that passed away last week, and he was a nice guy, and I keep tabs. I think I'm going to be the last one standing. I don't know, though I don't deserve it. Smoking ham is good. Smoking ham. I like ham for lunch. I think that's a pretty good one. And
I like roasting ham.
They got this cartoon AI that I signed up for that does cartoons, and might ask it to play around a little bit. I
did snag a couple ham sandwich pictures I was gonna play around with, see if I can't stick an arc in there or something, or I don't.
Yeah.
Trying to think of something for the thumbnail and everything, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we got the Grassman Chronicles too. Trees and I have a new show called the Grassman Chronicles. We did our first episode, and our second episode is scheduled for the 30th, I think.
Cool.
So if you like Bigfoot and aliens and all that kind of stuff, that's what we're covering.
So I'm on vacation again next week, going into the North Woods again, ride around in my little float tube on a lake, try to drown myself. I might come back. I might make it back. We don't know. The other thing, I've been studying philosophy of biology and evolution, and almost every book mentions Gödel's incompleteness theorem. If you really look in, Gödel. Yeah, you got to say Gödel. I bet Snack could do it because he does that. He could do Gödel. He could roll his R's. I should ask.
Did you see Tree's video with his little fur ball he rescued?
No.
He found he had a like a potbelly stove or something like that out on his porch, and some mama cat left a baby there behind, so he named it Ashes, and
Oh,
its
nice.
eyes weren't even open yet. He was, he had to get the feeder and the the Walmart fake milk, and everything. And so, yeah, if you want an awe moment, just a little tiny little, baby, little tiny little furball kitty. Yeah, it's adorable. And yeah, he named it Ashes. And last I heard, its eyes were opened up and it was eating. So
he's got tuxedo. You mean look at the trees?
Look at the trees. Yes.
He's got tuxedo. Eats. Oh, here we go. Ashes. Ashes.
Ashes.
Yeah. Yep. Hang on a second here. Let me put that up.
He thinks it's a boy.
Let's see. Yeah, you can't tell when they're young at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of. So let's see here. Come on, guy. Go full screen. Oh my God.
All right, gang. I thought I would give you an update on Ashes. He's got both eyes open.
Shit.
I'm pretty sure he's a boy. And there he is. He's adorable. He's hungry. He probably wants some milk right now. He makes adorable little noises and he screams at me sometimes. Here we go. There he's purring. I don't know if you can hear it.
Oh, he purrs while he eats. Cool.
This is your Ashes update. He's doing well. Yeah.
Okay, I linked it. So if you want more of that kitten, you got to go out to his site and go ahead and watch it. So, oh my God, look at that thing.
It's adorable.
Oh, that is incredible. Yep. Neat. Okay. Okay, we're going to shoot her in the head.
Well, thanks for the laughs. I've still got some moisture in the corner of my eyes from laughing.
The
that
arc
was
of that
hilarious.
thing it was so incredible because the first thing he typed in it, oh God, it agrees with me. Oh, this is great. Let's type some more. And then everything he asked it after that, it just shot his ass down, just right to the ground. And
my cheeks are a little sore from laughing.
If he would just read what AI said, it refutes almost every one of his fucking points. It's just, oh my God. And he
that's
could,
the first instinct of.
Huh?
That's the first instinct of a creationist is to project, and so that was Sal's first. Oh, it's a talking point,
and then he starts thanking it like it's a human or something, and asking it, oh, how can I help you get better data? It's like, Sal, I don't think they're going to call you when they train their AI. I don't think so.
Well, I don't blame Sal for doing that because my theory is he's just thinking, well, when the singularity hits, he wants to be known as a friend of the AI.
Yeah.
A willing servant.
Right, willing servant. That's why he thanks it. Right. Anyway. Okay, guys, we're gonna kill it here. So, anything else, Dave or Scott, you want to add?
I just want to thank the side chat for being such a great side chat. I think we have the best side chatters of the internet. I know some people out there would disagree with me strongly, but I just can't escape how good our side chat is.
Yes,
I appreciate all the ham comments too. I'm gonna jingle it around in my head and come up with a catchy title. So,
yep.
But yeah, we're gonna talk about Ken Ham. So if you like that kind of a conversation, that's what it's gonna be. So,
okay, guys, we're gonna end it. So goodbye, cruel world.
Goodbye.